Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be taking a look at an item that was added a while back and has received some pretty significant changes, and we're going to see if those changes make the item worth using. First off, let's talk about the item itself, which is the Writhing Band of Trickery. The Writhing Band of Trickery has 10% resistance to all elements and 10% shadow resistance, which is innate on the item, cannot be buffed. We also have 76 to 90 dexterity now, which is not bad, and it comes with a pretty huge amount of crowd control damage. This is a greater affix version, but as you can see, it's 127.5% on the greater affix version, which is pretty decent. It also has a massive amount of trap damage, which also can be greater affixed, and as you can see, mine has a 337.5% trap damage on it now. On top of this, it also has a bonus reduction to subterfuge skills. Now, subterfuge skills are, of course, poison trap, smoke grenade, concealment, and dark shroud, all of which are fairly good and fairly nice to play with. Depending on which subterfuge skill you happen to be using, you're going to be able to get a bunch of traps here, or a bunch of reduction to the cooldown. On top of this, the unique effect is casting a subterfuge skill leaves behind a decoy trap that continuously haunts and lures enemies. After 2 seconds, it explodes, dealing 11,951 to 21,143 shadow damage, which is very interesting because it is the same element, of course, as the death trap, which is a nice little addition there, because of course, you know, if you're trying to scale shadow damage, like Shadow Imbuement, Shadow Writhing Brand of Trickery, Death Trap, and etc., you can get some pretty interesting damage bonuses to this. And this effect is treated as a trap skill and can only spawn one decoy trap every 6 seconds. Now, of course, one of the easiest things that you could do if you were setting up a trap character is you could, of course, use a poison trap, which, of course, is going to give you this effect. Now let's go ahead and put this on real quick just so that we can test it out. And if I put down my trap, you'll notice that because I have the trap out, I also got the little explodey guy. And now I have this little countdown on here, which is showing me that I'm not capable of putting another trap out for 6 seconds because the cooldown of this happens to be pretty close. And we're going to put us another one, and of course we get our little decoy. And of course, I didn't really quite show it off. I kind of want to show it off to you guys as best I can. So let's really zoom in here. See the decoy there, and then the decoy explodes for shadow damage. Now, the interesting thing about this is that because of the fact that it is shadow damage, and because of the fact that it is now created as a trap, if you are a trap rogue, you can scale this with all of your trap bonus modifiers and Paragon nodes and all sorts of various things that are going to obviously enhance your trap damage. And it's obviously going to enhance the trap damage itself because it gives a pretty large amount of trap damage to itself even, which is not bad. The other thing here is that it can work very synergistically with the death trap because, of course, it taunts the monsters in. And if you place down your death trap and then, of course, place down your poison trap inside the death trap, it's going to pull all the monsters in, taunt them in, and it's going to get you an additional way to pull the monsters into the death trap, which is very nice. In general, I think the synergy between the stationary traps and the ability to taunt the monsters into the traps is very effective, and being able to scale them with obviously the trap damage and the trap Paragon nodes and stuff is also very interesting. I don't necessarily like that it's only once every 6 seconds, but it's going to happen often enough. I'm also interested to find out whether there's an interaction between the Scoundrel's Leathers and the item, so let's see if we can find this out real quick, and it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to do. But first we need to activate our inner sight. And then once we have inner sight active, we need a poison trap to spawn. And of course, it's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Let's bring this down to just one dummy, so it's a little bit easier. See if we can get this to happen. There it is. There it was, right there. So as you can see there, I was able to cause the decoy trap to spawn through the use of the Scoundrel Leathers, which is very interesting. So basically, the Scoundrel Leathers free casts of the poison trap will also cause the ability as well. And this means that you could potentially get free casts of a lot of things, like Dark Shroud, Concealment, Smoke Grenades, what have you, that will potentially do the same thing. So that's quite interesting. I think a lot of people might be interested in potentially setting up a character that has just like spamming traps like that. I could definitely foresee something along the lines of like Writhing Band of Trickery, Scoundrel Leathers, maybe even the Eyes in the Dark Pants, kind of like in combination for spamming as many traps as possible. And seeing how you could potentially use that to your advantage. Since you don't actually have to physically cause the trap to happen, I don't know. The taunt also can potentially work as a pull-in, because of course when you taunt, all the monsters are going to run toward the trap, and it can potentially work as a way for you to focus the monsters into one place to kill them all as well, even if you're not a trap rogue, which is interesting. I think all in all, it's definitely an interesting item, but there are a lot of really interesting rings to put in those slots, and it might not make it in just simply because you have something better to put in its place. It also does have a flavor text, which is the ring shifts and spins on your finger as the forces within desperately attempt to escape. Now, this particular item is an item that was introduced with Varshan, and the Varshan boss is where this drops. But if you're ever interested in learning where a specific item drops, you can always check out Diablo 4.life and use the target farming unique tool. It's actually pretty neat. So you can basically go on here, click on Rogue, and then you would, of course, click on Writhing Band of Trickery, and of course it says Echo of Varshan, which is where all of the Varshan rings, these are called Varshan rings, basically, or the malignant rings, and they all come from Varshan. So if you're looking for any of these malignant rings, the ones with these particular graphics, that's where you gotta go. Um, I think that the buffs that they did to this ring are definitely good. Tagging the decoy trap as a trap skill and making it scale with traps, I think was a really brilliant move and might actually make some trappers try out this ring and see if they can scale that particular damage output. There's a lot of fun to be had here with items like this, and honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying Diablo 4 these days is because of all of the fun builds and things that you can create with this stuff. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me, even when I'm just talking about a simple ring like the Writhing Band of Trickery. And I'm going to be going over all the unique items for 1.50. I've already put out quite a few of them. So if you are enjoying the content, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button, and tune in for some more unique item videos, because I'm going to be going over them all before the expansion comes out. And as always, keep watching.